Manawaker Studios Flash Fiction Podcast is supported by patrons on Patreon. To find out more or to add your support for as little as $1 a month, visit patreon.com/Manawaker. Welcome to Manawaker Studios Flash Fiction Podcast. I'm CB Droege. This week, The Visiphorical Art by Michelle Ann King. There are remnants of lives all over the house, drying out and growing mold like abandoned plates of half-consumed meals. They lie in wait under the surface of reality, like landmines, like unexploded bombs, waiting for the unwary, the ones who don't watch their step, to explode them back into the world. But Marcy isn't one of the unwary, the clueless. She's careful. She's a bomb disposal expert. She picks her way through the booby traps of memories and the tripping hazards of lost opportunities with skill and delicate flair. She's intangible, untouchable, an interloper in the territory of the dead, a ghost among ghosts. The image pleases her. Ghosts have power, after all, even if they don't know it. A coffee mug sits on the floor by the side of the sofa. Brown stains on white surfaces. Drips, clouds, concentric circles inside like the rings of a tree. Can you tell its age the same way? Maybe. World's greatest, it says on the side. World's greatest what? She doesn't know. It's been scratched out. Mum, Dad, Granddad, son, teacher? Probably. They're all here. She likes Harold the best. He was a son, a dad, a teacher, but not a very good one. He killed himself in the second-floor bathroom, slit his wrists and fell asleep in warm water, and then felt bad because it didn't hurt. If things are real, important, they're supposed to hurt. Or maybe the mug is real, a physical object. Maybe it said flatmate, and one of the others is trying to be funny, make a point. Passive-aggressive is the modern language of choice, after all. Marcy crouches beside it. She could pick it up, drop it, explode it. If it's physical, the pieces will seed the floor with hazards of their own, sharp jags for unprotected feet. If it's not, the pieces will seed the air with secrets and nightmares, regrets and yearnings, sharper jags for the soul. Part of her wants to do it. Set them all off, one by one. A chain reaction, a controlled detonation. Let them out, set them free. Except they never are. They'll settle again, eventually, into dust and plaster and filthy carpet fibers, into clothes, into skin and hair and mucous membranes. It doesn't help in the long run. It doesn't help anyone. She pushes her index finger through the air toward the mug. Adrenaline sends tremors through her blood, whistles air through her nostrils. One of the boys, he's cagey about his name, was a soldier. He defused bombs for a living, and eventually for a death. He finds that amusing, which is something she aspires to. She's always found such sanguinity admirable. Her nails are long and square, made of fiberglass and plastic. Does it change anything that they're not really part of her? Will it mean it's not her fault? The blunt artificial tip strikes the rim of the mug. Flicks it. A note rings out, sad and hollow. The mug doesn't shatter on any plane. Marcy picks it up and takes it into the kitchen. She leaves it in the sink. Elizabeth, one of the faded housewives, will try to wash it. The house is beautiful in its own way, a work of organic art, layers of the real and the not, the living and the dead intertwined. They say life's a play, but Marcy knows better. It's an exhibition. It runs in the family, her special sight, special appreciation. They've all been artists or audiences in their time, sometimes both. What would happen if there were no more like them? No more to understand the warp and weft, the direction of the brushstrokes, the thickness of the lines. If a ghost releases its life in the bathroom and nobody's there to feel it, does it still hurt? Her mother had collected newspapers, molded them into towers and spires and cathedrals, monuments. But nobody buys newspapers anymore, and horror can't stick to a computer screen. Light works its way through smudged and dusty windows, captured and fractured by patterns of fingerprints on all spectra, visible and metaphorical. Visiphorical? Marcy smiles. The birth of a new word is a celebratory occasion. Cathilion is a poet, and she says novelty is how you take part, how you move forward against the wash of what has already been. Originality is as dead as the author, and everybody knows everything's been done, but not right here, right now. In the moment, all of life is art, and no one wants to die. Not even the ghosts. Marcy suspects Cathilion is not her real name. The floor tiles, like flagstones, sink infinitesimally under the weight of cornflake crumbs and cobwebs and consciousness. Marcy pulls a plastic broom unused out of the alcove and sweeps it all into a matching plastic dustpan. She empties it out the back door, sets it free to find a new home. The kettle, that she's neither filled nor boiled, whistles merrily. She takes the world's greatest mug out of the sink, washes it free of detritus, and fills it with coffee instead. She takes it out into the garden, sits on the wooden bench and watches a pair of starlings squabble on the grass. Do they worry? Do they dream? Do they get left behind? Maybe. Maybe not. Maybe it doesn't matter. Marcy drinks her coffee, sliding her thumb over the side of the mug. Maybe there isn't a word missing after all. This has been The Visiphorical Art, written by Michelle Ann King, and first appearing in SQ Magazine. For more information about Manawaker Studios' other projects, including books and games, visit manawaker.com, which is also where you should go to learn more about the authors featured on this podcast or to get details about submitting a story. The Flash Fiction Podcast theme song is by Kevin MacLeod. Manawaker Studios' director of DICE is Ben Baston. I'm CB Droege. You can follow me on Twitter and Facebook at CBDroege. Thanks for listening. On the next installment of Manawaker Studios' Flash Fiction Podcast, a cat weighing $1.60. That's not here kitty kitty. Conservation of mass, you see. It's a thing.